Thank you for joining us. We begin tonight with breaking news in Chesterfield. A home daycare catches fire. A young child carried from the house by firefighters, then rushed to the hospital.
8 News reporter Kristin Smith was first on the scene of this tragic fire. She joins us live with more. Kristin.
At this hour, I'm told that child has to be rushed to the pediatric ICU.
Well, when we first arrived, neighbors had already taken children from the daycare into their homes, and the owner was here. She seemed visibly upset about the fire, but she didn't seem frantic in any way. Firefighters were busy putting out the hot spots, but there was really no sense of urgency because no one realized there was still a child inside.
It's something that I wish I never did see. Something I probably won't ever forget.
I see a firefighter rush out with an infant in his hands, and that actually looked really scary.
The young child rescued from a second-floor bedroom 36 minutes after this home caught fire. Investigators say the homeowner, the woman in royal blue, operated a home daycare. She told firefighters all 7 children made it out safely, but she was taking care of 8.
When she started trying to get as many as she could out, I believe she was very distraught, as you can imagine, and was probably not quite thinking exactly how she said, and thought that she had everybody out initially, and then it was shortly thereafter that we found the child.
Distraught parents rushed to the scene, relieved when reunited with their children. But tonight, thoughts are with 2 parents watching over their little one in pediatric ICU at VCU Medical Center.
It's the most sickening feeling seeing it. It's unfortunate, and it's hard to say out to that family and to the family whose house this is. It's sad.
Now, firefighters are still trying to determine what caused the fire, but they believe it started in the garage. As for the owner of the daycare, neighbors have nothing but nice things to say about her. They say she's taken care of children for years. However, there is some question tonight about whether or not she was licensed to run a home daycare. Fire investigators say she did have a county business license, but they are still checking into whether or not she was licensed to have that home daycare through the state and through the Department of Social Services. That's something they'll be looking into and something we'll be talking about more tonight at 6 o'clock. Reporting live from Chesterfield County, Kristin Smith, 8 News.
In Chesterfield County, the child left in a burning home daycare center has died. Yesterday, the homeowner was watching several children and told firefighters she got all of them out safely, but 1-year-old Joseph Allen was left behind. Our 8 News reporter Kristin Smith joins us now with more on the investigation into how this all happened. Kristin?
Amy, after talking with the Virginia Department of Social Services, 8 News has learned not only was this child care provider not licensed, she was taking care of too many young children. According to the state, there should have been at least 1 more person taking care of those kids. You could see the urgency as firefighters rushed the 1-year-old baby to an ambulance.
I heard a lady scream and saw a firefighter just run out with a child in his arms, and a cop yelled at me, told me, hey, move the cones for me, and they just took off.
This morning, the painful news that the baby did not survive. Joseph Allen died at VCU Medical Center of smoke inhalation. Allen was inside this home daycare yesterday for more than 30 minutes after it caught fire. Its owner thought she had pulled all of the children out safely, but somehow the little boy was overlooked.
I believe she was very distraught, as you can imagine, and was probably not quite thinking exactly how she said, and thought that she had everybody out initially, and then it was shortly thereafter that we found the child.
However, 8 News has learned that police are investigating because the daycare provider didn't have a state license, and that's the law when you take care of 6 children or more in your home. There are also questions about whether or not she was caring for too many young children. 7 of the 8 kids at her home yesterday were under the age of 2. Neighbors who know the daycare owner and her family insist she's heartbroken by what happened.
I just know that she's extremely devastated, as everyone in that neighborhood is, anyone who knows them. It's an unfortunate event.
If the daycare provider had been licensed by the state, there are fire safety regulations and standards in place, inspections that would have had to have been met. Now, not to say that would have prevented this tragedy, but those rules are in place for a reason. Police are investigating, and there is a possibility the daycare owner could face charges. Amy?
We have more breaking news in that fatal daycare fire that left a child dead. 8 News has learned that firefighters found little Joseph Allen strapped in his car seat in an upstairs bedroom more than 30 minutes after the fire broke out. 8 News reporter Kristin Smith is standing by with those new details in the newsroom. Kristin?
Well, Carrie, this report from the Chesterfield Fire Department gives chilling information about the fire, the tragic way crews found Joseph Allen, and the confusion that may have contributed to his death. Disturbing details about the discovery of 1-year-old Joseph Allen. The child somehow overlooked after this home daycare caught fire. The daycare's owner not even realizing Joseph was still inside. In a new report from Chesterfield fire investigators, information about how firefighters discovered the toddler. The report indicates that the first time crews searched the home's second floor, smoke from the fire caused zero visibility with moderate heat conditions. Once the fire was out, they searched again and immediately found a car seat carrier upside down. When turned over, a child was found strapped in. This was the scene moments later as a frantic firefighter rushed to an ambulance, Joseph in his arms. As to how the daycare owner forgot she was caring for the child, no question there was confusion at the scene. The report states, at first, she was sure that she was only taking care of 7. We informed her that with the child that was transported to the hospital, we counted 8 children. I had her write a list of all the kids, and we found paperwork that listed all the kids in her care. Between the paperwork and her list, we counted 10 children. 2 of those 10 children didn't go to daycare that day. Again, the daycare provider did not have a state license to operate a home daycare, something required by law when you care for 6 children or more. We've also learned a family cat died in the blaze. Investigators still haven't determined what caused that tragic fire. Live in the newsroom, Kristin Smith, 8 News.
News where you live in Chesterfield. Fire investigators are revealing what caused that deadly blaze at a Midlothian home daycare. Our 8 News reporter Kristin Smith joins us live from the newsroom now with the latest. Kristin.
Christina, investigators say the fire started after the daycare owner cleaned out a fire pit, put the ashes in a plastic garbage bag, and set it inside her garage. This is the chaotic scene after a Midlothian home daycare caught fire. Firefighters rushing to save a toddler left inside. 1-year-old Joseph Allen died in the blaze, now being called accidental.
As a result of fire pit ashes being placed into a plastic trash bag and then placed inside the garage, that itself caused the fire.
Fire investigators say the ashes from that fire pit were from a bonfire 2 nights before, and that it was more than 30 hours later when the unsuspecting owner put those ashes into a bag and into the garage.
And a lot of people don't understand that even though that it's been 24 to 36 hours, there can be some still small hidden smoldering items inside that wood that can spark a fire, especially when placed inside of a plastic bag, a paper bag, or something like that.
There have been questions about this tragedy from the start. How did the daycare owner forget one of the 8 children inside? Why didn't she have a state license? And why wasn't her home equipped with working smoke detectors? The fire marshal's report reveals the first floor smoke detector was missing a battery. But investigators don't think that made a difference in this tragedy.
Because the smoke had not gotten inside the house anyway. It was her that noticed the fire inside the garage when she went to check on something. So we don't believe that the smoke alarm would have played a factor in notifying her any earlier.
Chesterfield police continue to investigate this tragedy. There is a possibility the daycare owner could face charges for what happened. Reporting from the newsroom, Kristin Smith, 8 News.
Thanks for joining us. We begin with breaking news in Chesterfield. Police just revealing charges against the owner of a home daycare that caught fire in October, claiming the life of a 1-year-old boy.
And 8 News reporter Kristin Smith is in the studio now with details. Kristin?
Well, after nearly 6 weeks of investigation, police consulted with the Chesterfield County Commonwealth's attorney and decided to charge the daycare owner with a misdemeanor for her role in that tragic fire. 46-year-old Lori Underwood, the woman in the blue shirt there, is charged with operating a home daycare without a license. The fatal fire happened at her home on October 21st after Underwood put ashes from a fire pit in a garbage bag in her garage. She was caring for 8 children at the time. Underwood managed to get 7 of the kids out safely, but somehow overlooked 1-year-old Joseph Allen. He was left inside the house and later died at the hospital. According to the State Department of Social Services, home daycare operators must have a license if they care for more than 5 children. Underwood was taking care of 8. We spoke with the Chesterfield County Commonwealth's Attorney's Office, which explained that based on the information it was given, this case did not merit further charges based on state statutes and laws. Underwood is due in court in January. Juan?